Shalom, Israel, shalom. I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai. Yahweh is the Most High God, and Yahushai is who the world calls Jesus the Christ, Salaki Salaki. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who've been ruling well through the Spirit, teaching His word and believing His word to the best of their ability. Lord willing that they can continue to endure unto the end. Mighty shalom to the hopeful elect scattered four corners of the earth, in and out of congregations, teaching His word and believing His word to the best of their ability. Lord willing that they can increase and endure unto the end. Shalom to the wives and the single sisters. Lord willing, the Most High continue to put it on their spirit to be believers of His word. And Lord willing, the Most High have mercy on other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. I really wanted to really go live today, but Salaki again. Got out of work and I took a nap and the wind took me. I really wanted to tap into get into some reading, but it just draw the motivation pulled me to try to finish the first chapter of what I didn't get to finish yesterday. Right, so we was talking about Antiochus the third, ushering in Antiochus the fifth, right, and his wicked rule, right? Because when we go to I believe Daniel 8 and 9, it says, out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great, toward the south and towards the east and towards the pleasant land. Right, because when it was going up, we were going into that he goat, right, and the great horn was broken, which was Alexander the Great, and he had four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven. So the four notable ones is his four successors, what we said in recent video, right? And the four winds of heaven is talking about the four foundations of the empire that Alexander has built. And Antiochus would be this horn, right? The horn that waxed exceeding great towards the south and towards the east and towards the pleasant land. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and some of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. Now, some people might look at this as, oh, that's a literal star he knocked down. No, when we go into other scriptures, like even Revelations, the 12th chapter, I believe either the third verse, between 1 and 4, where it talks about the dragon, destroyed a third of the stars. Really was going into like the southern kingdom in the time of the Roman captivity, which is, years and times after the Greek captivity. But he basically cast down the host of Israel, right? Because we know that the scriptures is for Israel, in most cases about Israel, and prophecies is about things that happen or things to come. And this is a prophecy from Daniel, right? And of the stars to the ground and stamp upon them, right? So you have to know, when we look at these things and look back at Rome too, which is future, they did the same thing, but even worse, right? And how they describe, the Lord says that a flood came, right, and followed the Israelites that fled from the Roman persecution. The Lord talking about a flood, we would think is water, but it's way deeper than that. He talking about a flood of the Roman army, right? So we have to know that Antiochus was breaking down, destroying, and killing, right, on his decree, a lot of our brothers and sisters, regardless if you agree or don't. Verse 11, it says, yeah, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down, right? And a host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. And it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. So we're gonna go back to that, right? So we was showing this yesterday. Antiochus III the Great, he ruled between 241 all the way to 187 BC. In a time of, he was basically like a Hellenistic king, right? Alexander the Great was already initiating it because he was pushing all people in our country, to cleave on to the Greek philosophies or the Greek culture, which actually did take place, right? And then later on, it got worse because when we read in First Maccabees, you find out when Alexander died, he gave, basically divided his kingdom against to his successors, and his successors put crowns. Their sons even put crowns on their head, and evil was increased in the land, right? So just showing this what this test tube monkey really looked like, you know. This is what he looked like right here. And that's what they did back then, making statues. His successor was Seleucus the Fifth, Philopator. I said potato. Let's see. So you don't got that much. It's not books of Maccabees like you see it. Antiochus and the Jews. Yeah, we was reading all of this yesterday. So I'm just giving you a glimpse of each joint. This is what we damn near was tackling yesterday, right? But I want to give you since I'm screen recording this, I want to give you the images, some of the images that I popped up on the screen yesterday, if they will let me. Salaki family, this is what I wanted, but I want to show you how the kingdom was divided. Is this it? Yes, this would be it. This is how kind of it would look. You see Ptolemy is in Egypt, Nabateans. When you go into the book of Maccabees, you hear these names, Seleucus Empire. Over here is mostly like the Bacteria Kingdom, or however they would pronounce it, right? Antigonid Empire, Cassander's Empire, Sparta, right? All of this, it links with Alexander the Great. And I'm gonna show you another one, right? Because this one is probably more plain. All the orange. Because if I go to the Rome and I go to Babylon, you'll see how it's small, it grows, and then it increase and then increase. So back then, this is how far the power of the Greeks, how far it went, right? From east, west, south to north. This is how far it went. Let alone on the outskirts, you best believe that it was being pushed and promoted. But this is all of the Greeks' empire, all of the orange. Mostly, this is what we really focusing on, right? So, in 323 BC, before the death of Alexander, this is all he owned as one unit. And the picture that myself and I, that I had showed you, is basically showing you the dividing of his kingdom. But if I can get the other picture I had yesterday, I just wanted to show you the four. Maybe that picture that I had first was probably good enough. Let me see if they're 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, maybe this one is good, but when you really count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, and his four successors divided the kingdom of Alexander the Great, and this is what it would look like to the best of its ability. Yeah. So I'm just showing. Just want to be able to show you guys stuff before we get into these scriptures, right? So now we're going to hop into the scriptures just a little bit. I'm going to keep this nice, sweet, and short. Lord willing, by the power of Yahweh Shema Shai, we can actually get in there tomorrow. So this is First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 51. It says, in the self same manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, right? And appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice, city by city. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, every one that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land, and drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for secure, right? Basically safety, right? And just a sidebar, this is just a sidebar. When brothers is looking for future prophecies, when we look at when the mark of the beast actually come, Israelites will be driven, to be in secret places, right? And it's going to all be Yahweh Shema Shai protecting the elect, right? We're going to basically just look for safety, but it's going to just all be by Yahweh Shema Shai. It's amazing how ain't nothing new under the sun. And the same cycle is going to happen again, but it's going to be different, right? Verse 54, it says, now the 15th day of the month of Chavlev, in the 145th year, so 145 year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar, builded idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side. So they set up the abomination of desolation. So let's see if we can get something. Now, of course, you see in Rome, right? Because the real, when we look at the destruction, right, the abomination of desolation, we see Titus and Vespasian, right? But when we actually deal with the scriptures, it makes it even more plain for us. Okay. And it's so amazing how deep scriptures can go. Sometimes they can be twofold. It could be onefold, threefold, fourfold, right? And even the same way how this look, we can know that in ancient times, Greek and Rome was like, after Babylon and Persia Medes, was like the one biggest turnaround for history, right? And we even read in scriptures when we go back to First Maccabees chapter 1, from verse 20 to 25, it shows you that Antiochus proudly went into the sanctuary, and he took the golden altar, the candlesticks of life, what we see right here in this picture, the menorah, right? They took other vessels. They took the table of showbread, in the pouring of vessels, the veils, the censers of gold, the veils, the crowns, the golden ornaments, and they pulled those off. They took also silver and gold and precious vessels, and he even took the hidden treasures, right? This is what Antiochus did when overtaking, our temple, right? I'm just giving you a little glimpse. Nothing too crazy. Something just, you can even look at it for yourself. You can go search these things for yourself, man. Look at that. Go search these things for yourself, right? But of course, we hear it again in the Gospels, right? You it's showing us Daniel the ninth chapter, verse 27, Daniel 11 and 31, Daniel 12 and 11, and Matthew 24 and 15. And I'll, of course, why not go to it, right? So we go to Daniel 9, and I'm going to start at 26, and it says, after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, right? And even if we was to think of Messiah, right? Some of us would think that that's shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the ends thereof shall be with a flood. And unto the end of the world, war, desolations are determined. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation. And that determined shall be poured upon the desolate, right? And it's just aligning with Antiochus Epiphanes, right? And when you go to Daniel 11:31, from what we had seen, it says, let me start at 30. It says, for the ships of Shittim shall come against him. Therefore he shall be grieved and return and have indignation against the holy covenant. And so shall he do. He shall even return and have intelligence with them that forsook the holy covenant. And arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate, right? This is what we looking at, right? This is what Antiochus pushed, right? Let alone, like I said, the Greek and the Roman captivity. Especially when we look at prophecies, sometimes things can be onefold and twofold, right? Because a lot of brothers will bring up what Vespasian and Titus did, right? Destroying the temple. When we look into the Greek captivity, they did it again. I mean, of course, that was the start of it. They really defiled it, right? Vespasian and Titus, they destroyed the temple, right? With Antiochus, he defiled it with prostitutes and putting Zeus into it. They overtook the temple, right? And even more, this is why, let me just get him, man. This is how you know scriptures is very important all around the scriptures. Where is it? 15:4. This is Romans chapter 15:4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Right? All of this information that was documented and written for us was written for our learning. This is why we have to decipher the scriptures to the best of our ability, right? Going back to Daniel 12 and 11, we just showing that it's beautiful to see these things, right? Because the Lord is using the prophets to prophesy things that's going to happen. And if you are a man of the Lord, or if you believe in Yahweh Shemashai, you're patient in the waiting of Yahweh Shemashai. You're waiting for his prophecies to speak. They speak when they come to pass, right? This is Daniel chapter 12, verse 10. It says, many shall be purified and made white and tried. But the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. Throughout all our history, this is how it been, right? The elect in every situation was made purified and white in every situation we went through. Of course, we not saved at that final because we all come back into our lot. But in each situation in our history, the wicked never understood. And the wise are always coming back to Yahweh Shema Shai. Verse 11. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, right? What that daily sacrifices which Yahweh Shema Shai ordained us to do, in the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days, right? And you just keep on reading and keep on reading. Salaki, please be there with me. Whew. Knows, man. That's why you get mad. Esau be having you working crazy elements, right? And don't give you protective gear. You know what I'm saying? So let's get back to Maccabees, right? First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 55. It says, and burnt incense at the doors of their houses in the streets. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law, which they found, they burned them with fire, right? They burned the law, the first 5 books. When we dabble in to the book of Second Esdras, right? Or just talking about Esdras, he rewrote the first 5 books of the Bible. Look, oh, Moses said this, that you think, but no, right? Ezra rewrote the first 5 books of the Bible, right? Verse 56, it says, no, Salaki, 57. So, we got to be thankful that the Lord, through his power and his grace, somehow he allowed all of this to come back. And look, we have the final blueprint right here that we get to read, right? 57, it says, wheresoever was found with any of the book of the testament, or if any consented to the law, the king's commandment was that they should be put to death, right? If you were found with the law, you should be put to death. Let's see if I can find the one joint. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 58, it says, "Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the city." Right? So the verse before, anybody that had the book of the Testament, or if any consented to the law, the king's commandment that they be put to death. And thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites. So every month, this is like a mandatory search, just like what you do in jail, where they search your cell, right? Verse 59, it says, "Now the 5 in the 20th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of the Most High, at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised," which is a very, very serious moment. A mother is getting killed because she birthed a son, and that son has to get circumcised 8 days later. These motherfuckers wanted us to make sure our sons had helmets on their heads. Like, are you kidding me? 61, it says, "And they hanged the infants about their necks and raffled their houses and slew them that had circumcised them." Now, y'all might not know, and I can go even deeper one of these days. You know, the Greeks were Edomites, right? And I just want you to know this verse right here in Deuteronomy 28, verse 50. It says, "A nation of fierce a countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young." Now, of course, we're going to use the Europeans that actually came and got, the Israelites, right? Because when we finish later on in that chapter, both came Israel, but really the southern kingdom was on boats to come to the Americas and became servants, right? Became slaves, right? So it's actually beautiful to see in this scripture, not saying it, praising it, but to know, if anybody been reading, this is how you can depiction who Esau is. Not saying he's the only one, because all nations didn't regard none of us. But when we look into that scripture, especially the verse that I brought out, and when you even go even more, where it says he will he will lend, the other nations will lend. Basically, we will borrow and they will lend. We will not lend, but we will borrow. And when we look at the society we in now, a lot of us are borrowing. We get loans, PP loans. Hey, can I get a loan on this car? You know what I'm saying? Can I get a $5,000 loan so I can get this house, or $20,000 a loan for this house, right? We're borrowing from our enemies. Let me see if I can get that. See, and they're using the depiction of an eagle, even though it's multiple nations that use an eagle. But we know when we go to Obadiah and other different attributes, Esau always has something symbolizing an eagle. Now, if I go into Mountain of Seir, you would see eagles, right? But if we go up, hunger and thirst, this is another depiction to show you, because right now we serve our enemies in hunger, thirst, and nakedness, right? Here we go. Verse 43, "The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high." So all nations were strangers, right? But in particular, when we follow all prophecies, the Greeks, the Romans, these are all prophecies, right? But we would have to go in history to understand who these people would actually be, right? And the Japhites have a good role in history, right? But the most important role, of course, is the Israelite man. And second, after that would be Esau. Esau has to play a role, a big role in history, right? So this stranger got very high, right? And thou shalt become very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail, right? And Esau did grow in the Greek, dynasty or the Greek empire, regardless if you want to accept it or not, right? Ptolemy, he had Cleopatra, right? Those were so-called Edomites, right? Esau went to and fro, overtaking land, right? And if we was to break down all of those things, we would be here even way longer, right? Spirit would have to flow. You would have to know the attribute of Esau. You would have to know, and especially in the time of the Greeks and the Romans, most of these people wasn't just straight saying, I'm Esau, I'm an Edomite. You might see a group, oh, these were Edomites. But most case, oh, I'm from here. People would really say a place they're from. Because then right after Greek, after Rome, we leave the ancient names and we call ourselves, all nations start coming up with new names, right? And we see precepts right here where they want to get me Second Maccabees, the 6th chapter, verse 10. Let me just make sure. Okay, everything is good. Verse 10, it says, for there were 2 women brought who had circumcised their children, whom when they had openly led around about the city, the babes handing at their breasts, they cast them down headlong from the wall. You understand? Like, that is brazy. And you got to think, we have to watch these things. Let's read verse 12. It says, now I beseech those that read this book that they be not discouraged for these calamities, but that they judge those punishments not to be for destruction, but for a chastening for our nation, because of the wickedness we have done in front of the eyes of Yahweh Shemal Shai, right? Yes, it's a terrible thing these nations have done, but it's all a punishment. You get a whooping, your mom might overly whoop that ass, but you deserve it, right? Baruch 4 and 6. You were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved the Most High to wrath. Ye were delivered unto the enemies, for ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils, and not to the Most High. Ye have forgotten the everlasting power that brought you up, and ye have grieved Jerusalem that nursed you. All the things that we have done, is recorded in the scriptures, right? It's always good to learn from your past, to see the mistakes that we made, to know that the Lord is giving you another. You woke it up and you able to see these things right now, read them. The Lord is giving you a chance to wake your ass up. Verse 62, howbeit many Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing, right? They put it in their heart. You know what? We not about to fold under pressure and eat any of this unclean food. What the hell? What the hell would Antiochus got to say? Forget him. So Daniel chapter 1, verse 8. Let's just see what it says. Let's just see. It says, but Daniel proposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore, he requested for the prince of the eunuch that he might not defile himself, right? And we got to understand, we can't eat unclean food. Some of these nations were eating pork or they were eating humans, right? And we just see a good account with the book of Daniel. What did it just say? That some of us conformed ourselves not to eat unclean things. Look at Daniel. Look at some of the men of the Lord, right? We didn't want to fold under pressure to sin against Yahweh Shema Shai. It was always a remnant that didn't want to fold against the ways of Yahweh Shema Shai. Verse 63, wherefore they chose rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meat, that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died, right? They was willing to strive for the truth, right? Let's get that. Sirach 4:28, right? Sirach 4:28, it says, strive for the truth until death, and Yahweh Shemashai shall fight for you. They strived. Yeah, they probably died. But guess what? The Lord definitely fought. Look, the Maccabees overcame them. The death of Nicanor, right? And guess what? The Lord is gonna he's gonna double back. Let's get the one account in Second Maccabees, the 7th chapter. I'm not even reading all of this. I'm gonna just go where the young man he say something so fire. What did he say? Here we go. This is what I wanted. Okay, this is 2 Maccabees chapter 7, verse 32. For we suffer because of our sins. We went through all of that because of our sins, transgression of the law. And though the living Lord be angry with us a little while, for our chastening and correction, yet shall he be at one again with his servants. So we got to understand the temple is destroyed. They doing all of these things. We're working our way into what is the Feast of Dedication. It's the cleansing, the rebuilding, and the capturing of the temple, right? And we had to go through obstacles to even accomplish it, right? A little while for our chastening and correction. Let's read it over. And though the living Lord be angry with us a little while, when we go into Corinthians, what we suffer is only for a moment, a little while. For our chastening and correction, yet shall he be at one again with his servants. But thou, O godless men, and of all other most wicked, be not lifted up without a cause, nor puffed up with uncertain hopes, lifting up thy hand against the servants of the Most High. For thou hast not yet escaped the judgment of the Almighty, who seeth all things. Right? He said you didn't escape from the judgment of Yahweh Shema Shai. Right? You didn't escape. And it's just beautiful to see this history and to be where we at right now and to see the shit that's happening. And right now we in Hanukkah right now, and it been shit going on before, and it's shit going on in the time of, me and my brother's Great Millstone, and I believe Sakai and probably another congregation doing Hanukkah right now. To see the things unfold, like learning from your history, yes, is gonna make you upset. Like, dang, man, we went through this, right? We did this, we did that. But it helps you understand that in this whole lesson, in this whole process, the Lord provides. He put that spirit on the Maccabees to hold it down and get it done, right? Let's go 2nd Maccabees chapter 6, and it's saying verse 19. Let's just check it out. It says, but he choosing rather to die, let's read up 17. It says, but let this that we had spoken be for a warning unto us. And now when we come to the declaring of the matter in a few words, Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. But he, choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such abomination, spit it forth and came of his own accord to the torment, as it behooved him to come, that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of life to be tested. Right? Gotta understand, man, how far you gonna go? Is you gonna spit it out when you know death is at the door? This man, Eleazar, death was meeting at his door, and it's either eat this pork, you're gonna live. And it's so crazy the heathen had us do that. eating unclean food, and you'll be killed if you don't eat it. Like, why can't we just eat regular? Like, this is how you know the Lord put that spirit on them. Had them thinking an evil thought, just like when we think about Magog in Ezekiel, I believe 38 verse 10, right? The Lord put it on Magog, Lord willing, in this future that's about to come, that the Lord is going to whisper in their ear and they're going to think an evil thought, and that's when they're going to click that button, right? And Antiochus, that the Lord put that evil thought in them, right? Verse 64, and we go into here, it says, and there was very great wrath upon Israel, right? So this is why we need to read upon and look upon what we had to go through, right? And now, where we at right now in this America, look what we going through. The more we read through this, you had some that actually stood strong for the faith. Are you going to stand strong for the faith? A lot of y'all can't even fathom. You can't even go look up a movie dealing with the Maccabees or the 12 tribes and what they went through. A lot of y'all, if they made a movie full double XL MA with every image and every view, not one part missing, a lot of y'all couldn't even handle that. A lot of y'all would just say, F it, let me just be American. I don't want to be an Israelite. I don't want to take all of that. Because Esau flooded you and spoiled you with a whole bunch of bullshit that you don't even want to accept or know what you went through and what you did, man. To get the kingdom, we have to suffer. To get the kingdom is long suffering, right? And make sure you sure, right? Choose your election. Choose who you going to serve, right? All praise to Yahweh Shemau Shai for putting the spirit on our forefathers to rededicate the temple, man. And we here now trying to rehearse the righteous acts. All them times you in school, they talk about Hanukkah. You're like, I don't do Hanukkah. Didn't even know what it was, but you hurrying up doing Christmas, right? Hanukkah has a way bigger meaning to it than, excuse my language, than fucking Christmas. If you don't know about Hanukkah, but you know everything about Christmas, but you don't really know about Christmas, you don't know where it come from, the history, the paganism to it. But Hanukkah has more of a spiritual and deeper history for the Black, Latinos, and Natives. You out your motherfucking rabbit mind. Excuse my language, but for real, for real. Lord willing, this was edifying. Lord willing, it was. And if it wasn't, who cares? We going to keep pushing this work. Keep edifying the people to let them know your people went through some things and it's time to wake the hell up. With that, is your brother, Dr. Byron. I want to say shalom. Call Allah Yahweh Shem Shai, brother.